Welcome to Startup TV Boston. I'm Michael McCarthy, and we're coming to you live from Beijing, China. And I'd like to welcome my guest today, Michael Cao in Minnesota from Solupal. Michael, welcome to the show.
Hi, yeah, thanks for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here.
And thank you for being awake because it's noon in Beijing and it's about 12 or 13 hours earlier. So I think we're in the middle of the night for you in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's getting a little late, but I'm still excited. Yep.
Okay, excellent. So, Michael, tell me, we found out about you from LaunchX. Could you tell
Mhm.
us a little bit about what LaunchX is and how you became involved in it?
Yeah, so LaunchX is a program for aspiring high school entrepreneurs, and I found out about it last year. So I applied for their summer program actually, and last summer I went to the summer program at MIT, and there I got to learn so much about the entrepreneurship process while also creating my own startup. So it was the actual process facing all of the obstacles, all the ups and downs, but it was a really amazing experience. And from that, I actually started a launch club at my school for the school year. And with that, I started another company, and we were able to be finalists for the LaunchX Club's Global Demo Day. And so we traveled again to MIT for their Global Demo Day, and we presented our company and met all sorts of people from around the world.
Excellent. Yeah, I am a mentor with LaunchX, and I was one of the mentors when it was just MIT LaunchX. Now it's a global program, and you mentioned that you have a LaunchX club at your high school. Can you tell our
Mhm.
studio audience a little bit about what is a LaunchX club and how could people get one at their high school?
Yeah. So a LaunchX club is a after-school club essentially, where you bring in students, aspiring students from your high school, and you essentially put them through the LaunchX curriculum and through the process. So you form teams of 4 to 6 within your school, and every week there's a different lesson plan or there's different activities to do, different milestones, and throughout the school year each team is basically creating their own company from scratch under the guidance of the club president. There's all sorts of mentors available, and ultimately, yep, you have the chance to travel to MIT for their final pitch day.
Excellent. And I appreciate you coming on to Startup TV Boston. I'm actually the instructor for Harvard's Entrepreneurship and Innovation class, and I started Startup TV Boston about 4 years ago for our Harvard students who graduated. Their final exam was to create a startup. At the end of the semester, some of them had really great startups, and I wanted to continue to support them. And by having the television show, we put this show up on YouTube, and the students have been able to share their YouTube link with venture capitalists and angel investors around the world. And I've since expanded the program to the MIT LaunchX population of high school students. So, Michael, after the show airs in Boston, I'm going to encourage you to take that YouTube link and share it with investors around the world, and hopefully it can help your company grow.
Yeah, definitely, I'll do that. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Sure. So let's just launch right into it. Michael, can you tell us what is your idea and how did you come up with it?
Yeah, so I'm from Solupal. I'm the CEO, and we aim to create a sustainable alternative to plastic shopping bags. So we've actually created a new type of plastic shopping bag that is 100% biodegradable, but can actually dissolve in water. So essentially the point of it is that no matter where the plastic bag ends up, our bag it will leave zero waste. So you can throw it in the washing machine or you can throw it in the trash, but in the end, it will either dissolve or biodegrade.
Wow, where did this idea come from?
So we noticed the plastic bag problem in our lives from the beginning of high school. Plastic bags are a huge problem. They pile up in our streets. They come into our oceans, and they're even in our own homes. There's plastic bags piling up in people's homes. And one specific experience was when one of our co-founders She works in a local clothing boutique, and it was a really small boutique, just 1,400 square feet. And she noticed that every day she would get shipments of clothing that was wrapped in 3 layers of plastic packaging, and every night she'd have to take out 2 huge bags of plastic out to the trash. And she thought, if just a small clothing boutique could generate so much plastic waste, think of the Targets, the Walmarts, how much waste could they produce each day? And we noticed that, and we really wanted to find a solution that would essentially revolutionize the clothing retail industry.
Excellent. I was noticing the same thing in Beijing. I'm living here for the summer helping blockchain startups, and I'm only eating in my apartment maybe 1 meal a day. And every day I have 2 bags of garbage. The amount of packaging that everything comes into in the grocery stores here is incredible. And I'm just curious, what do the landfills look like in China? Because China's really big. So I think what you have, we might need in Beijing. So I would love for you to share your screen and show us your PowerPoint presentation. We would love to see your pitch.
Sure. Yep. So like I said, we're Solupal, and we are a company that tackles the plastic waste issue. So plastic bags end up in landfills, they'll end up in our homes, and especially some things that have been appearing in the news lately is affecting our wildlife, our marine life, while plastic bags kind of pollute the ocean. So what we've created is a water-soluble shopping bag that is 100% biodegradable and, of course, dissolves in water. So on the screen, that's what our bag looks like. It is designed to function and feel exactly like a regular plastic bag, but in the end, it leaves 0 waste. And so the plastic bag, the Solupal bags are made out of a material called polyvinyl alcohol, or PVA, which is a material that is traditionally used in a lot of niche markets like 3D printing, hospitals, and most prominently it's used in things like laundry detergent pods. So we've used this material to create a shopping bag so that it essentially serves the purpose of a regular shopping bag, transporting goods from point A to point B. But in the end, you can dispose of it in any way you want, and it will leave 0 waste. So we spent a lot of time trying to look for manufacturers that would help partner with us to create our bags, and we've actually found a very large manufacturer called Monosol. They've created PVA for decades, and they've partnered with us to create our bags. The people who we're targeting are businesses, but more specifically, we're targeting these environmentally sustainable boutiques, mostly because they are the people who prioritize environmentally sustainable products, and they're also able to upfront the cost of our bags. So that's one thing that we've been trying to work very hard on, is increasing the volume of our orders and reducing the price of our bags. From there, we want to reach out to more high-end boutiques and also thrift stores, because a lot of thrift stores are about reusing and recycling, and our bags kind of align with the mission of thrift stores. And as we continue to grow and expand, we hope to reach the retail market in the future. So there's, of course, a ton of retail stores all over Minnesota and even the US and the world. So our bags, we aim to provide value to both the end user, the consumer who uses the bags, and also the retail business who we sell to. So with the end user, they receive a convenient and accessible way to be eco-friendly, while also not having to commit a lot. So they wouldn't have to even give a thought, and they could just be more environmentally conscious. They can be help preserving the environment one bag at a time. Whereas retail businesses would seek to use our bags to improve their brand image. That's why we're reaching out to the environmentally sustainable boutiques because they have been looking all around for more environmentally sustainable options for plastic shopping bags. And so with our bags, we have two key components that make up our competitive advantage. One is convenience and one is environmentally friendliness. So with reusable bags, on one hand, they're more environmentally friendly than plastic bags, but at the same time, over 40% of reusable bag owners forget to even bring the bag to the store. So with Solupal, we wanted to provide it at the checkout point so that they wouldn't have to use any effort in using our bags and being more environmentally friendly. Whereas plastic bags, they are, although they're abundant, they're everywhere, they are truly adding up and destroying our wildlife, destroying our earth. There's even garbage patches floating around in the Pacific Ocean, and we want to change that with Solupal. So far, we've mostly stayed local within the Twin Cities. There's a lot of environmentally sustainable boutiques and a strong environmentally sustainable community there. So currently we have a few paying clients that use our bags. One in particular is called Spoils of Wear. So they actually create all of their clothing with recycled materials. They were really receptive to our idea because they've been searching for environmentally friendly alternatives to plastic bags. They use things like organic cotton or burlap, but even those aren't completely waste-free. And we've also competed at a few competitions and received funding. So far we've received $975 in funding through a few competitions, and also as global finalists for LaunchX's Global Demo Day. We're awaiting further funding for next year as we continue our company. So here is just a kind of a guideline of what our goals are for production. Actually, we sold our bags to more stores. We increased the volume, and actually the profit numbers are slightly different than what's on the chart right now. We were able to increase our margins by over 15% just by selling just like 1,000 bags. So we're aiming to expand mostly into the thrift stores and high-end boutiques within Minnesota before reaching out to other stores in different states. So yeah, like I said, we are trying to finalize our product. We're trying to increase our production and scale with our MVP while satisfying our target market of high-end environmentally sustainable stores. And from that, we want to distribute it to our secondary market of thrift stores and other high-end stores. And hopefully, we'll be able to reach larger retail stores very soon. And that's basically it. We have a website, and you can also reach out to us through our Instagram or our email.
Okay, well, this is exciting. You're going to be you're solving a huge problem. I love it. I have several questions. I also have a lot of leads and some introductions for you that can help increase your business. The first question is on price. Can you give me a sense of what do your bags cost compared to a regular bag that we're used to seeing today?
Right. So usually plastic bags range from around 2 to 10 cents, depending where you get it from. Right now, we initially purchased our bags at a price of 47 cents per bag. Oh, I'm sorry, 54 cents per bag, and we sold it at 59. So we had a 5-cent markup and an 8% profit margin. And just recently, we were able to reduce our price down to 47 cents per bag, and we still mark it up to 59 cents. Of course, this price is still rather high. That's what initially deterred a lot of stores from purchasing our product. But for at least the more high-end, environmentally conscious boutique stores, they're still interested in purchasing at around like the 50, 60 cent range, because a lot of the other alternatives like burlap and cotton are also within that price point.
Okay. Uh, how can you get the price down? Is it simply a matter of making a larger order with the manufacturer Monosol?
Yeah, I think that's one part. Right now, the like a more major part of our cost is from shipping, but also we seek to find more manufacturers, or even like start like a manufacturing plant ourselves.
Okay. May I make a few suggestions that just sort of leaping off the page? And I'm like, oh
Hmm.
my God, here's some really good things that could work for you.
Hmm.
The first one is, have you ever heard of a thing called a letter of intent? You ever heard of that before?
Yeah, yeah, I've heard of it before.
Okay, so for our studio audience, a letter of intent would say, I can only afford to buy 1,000 bags a month, but I would love to be able to get the price discount as if I was buying 10,000 bags. So
Hmm.
I'll give her a letter of intent, which means I intend in this letter to buy 10,000 bags. Please give me the discount price for 10,000 bags, even though I'm only buying 1,000 bags per month. And if at the end of 10 months I haven't bought my 10,000 bags at the $10,000 discount, you're going to bring me back retroactively to the higher price because I didn't fulfill my letter of intent. So you're basically getting an upfront discount because you don't have the money to do it right now. Have you considered doing letters of intent with your current manufacturers?
Yeah, we haven't done it yet, but that's actually like a really great suggestion. We haven't really thought of that, but it's a great idea.
Okay, you might. The good news is you're a high school student, and a lot of businesses just want to help you. And you could ask the president of the company, say, listen, someone just did a television show on us. They suggested a letter of intent. Could we get volume discount pricing and
Hmm.
work at giving you orders over time through a letter of intent process? And don't be surprised if they say yes because they want to be helpful to you. So I think that could help your margin right away. The second thing that comes into my mind when you mentioned thrift stores, I think it's interesting that you've targeted them. One of my father's good friends is a guy named Bruce. Bruce is the CFO to the second largest thrift store in the United States. And I'd like to introduce you to Bruce and see if he would be willing to buy your bags. Would you like that?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, we definitely want to seek more opportunities to get our bags out.
Okay. Now, what I'm thinking that you might be able to share with Bruce is your price differential on a bag is pretty wide, 10 cents versus 60 cents approximately.
Hmm.
What you might be able to do is, and you could ask Bruce about this because he is a finance guy, uh, maybe there's a way that you could give them these bags on consignment. After all, they're a consignment shop, basically, and
Hmm.
say at checkout, you could offer people the option. Do you want the free 10-cent bag, or do you want to save the environment and the whales and it's going to cost you another 50 cents? Would you like to have this bag that does that? That might be one way if there's an objection to purchasing the bags initially, because it is an expense. It's definitely a higher expense, and so someone's going to be looking at that. But the other thing that pops in my mind is, have you ever heard of a company called Uline, Uline.com?
Yeah, I think so. Um, are they a transportation company?
Well, actually, they do that as well as if you look at their website, uline.com, any business can buy anything in bulk at very low prices. So they would sell you 1,000 garbage bags, 10,000 coffee cups, uh,
Mm.
sugar packets. If you go on uline.com, they literally sell, I think, like 10,000 things, and it's all for offices and companies on a bulk level, and they sell plastic bags. When I owned a food company, I needed plastic bags. You could simply put your product on their website at your price of 60 cents. And you might not have to run around going toward different retailers door to door. You might just be able to grow this business super fast by scaling it on uline.com. And I
Hmm.
don't know what they take for fees, but I think it's worth investigating, because what you might want to do is just simply get into the business of bulk selling your plastic bags. Because what's nice about them is that almost everyone needs a plastic bag. It's not this special pitch. It's pretty much a universal product that you have. Um, it is also a commodity product, which is where you're going to be having some competition. Someone larger could come along and say, oh, we do the same commodity product at a lower price. I think if you did some branding that said that we are high school students trying to save the world, and you do a branding on the fact that you're of a younger generation, that might get more people saying, that's what I want to support. It's an extra dime. I want to support the younger people. So I would work that angle as long as that angle exists, because in about 10 years, you're not going to have that advantage. So I'd encourage you to take advantage of it, because it's basically going to be one of your unique value propositions. And that's a challenge to your business. What is unique about it? Well, it's pretty easy to knock off, unfortunately. So I'm thinking that if you make a brand around your story, that you are the younger generation, you have to live on this planet after we're gone. And that's why it's important that your company gets supported, because you are the next generation. I think that kind of branding play could get you some more customer loyalty, because you have a product that doesn't necessarily generate loyalty, but I think a good marketing program, a good PR program could get you that. And
Yeah.
the other one that pops in my mind, have you ever heard of the Hult Prize, Hult?
Yeah, it sounds very familiar. Can you go a little bit more into it?
Sure. So the Hult Prize is basically for startups, college startups, and it's, I believe, hultprize.org, HULT. Just Google HULT space prize, and about 100,000 people apply for $1 million winner-take-all prize. And they don't take any equity. If you win, you get $1 million. And there's about 100,000 people competing each year. And fortunately, I'm the head pitch coach for all the finalists. And last year and the year before, we all got to go to the United Nations. We got to meet Muhammad Yunus, the Nobel Prize winner in microfinance. It's an incredibly cool project. Each year, they do a different challenge that the world needs. And typically, it's a big challenge. You're trying to help 10, 20, 30 million people in the world. Last year, it was a challenge for the refugee crisis. You could take a look at this year's crisis and challenge and see if your plastic bags could possibly help that challenge. And my guess, because it's a very loose challenge, you could probably figure out how to get your plastic bags configured to help with the Hult Prize. The other one that comes to mind is Mass Challenge. That one, I believe you get $100,000 in free office space in Boston. I think there's a Mass Challenge Israel, but masschallenge.org is also highly organized. They give you money and they don't take equity. So these are two places where you could go beyond lawn checks up to the next level. And what I like about these two programs is that they don't take equity in your business. And I would encourage you to hold on to as much equity as possible, because you can never get it back. And I think those are the options that leaped out. Also, going to grocery stores, I think that's a no-brainer. In Beijing, they wrap everything in plastic. And when you go to a grocery store, also everything is in plastic as well. And they're constantly reusing it. So maybe a Walmart or a grocery store would be something. I would just be mindful, maybe do it for a mom and pop grocery store first, because if you go to a Walmart and you can't scale with them, they'll fire you. So you want to make sure that you can scale to the size of that client. So I like the fact that you're doing smaller people.
Right. That's what we tried to do. Like, we initially, when we contacted even thrift stores, they were pretty hesitant to completely switch over all their bags, because most of them are chains. And that's why we reach out to them, like the boutiques. Another thing, interestingly, for grocery stores, a lot of times the products at grocery stores have condensation or involve water. We've tried to put, for example, like a carton of milk into our bags, and that sometimes alters like the structural integrity of the bags. So that's why we initially targeted clothing, because clothing is light and it doesn't generate any water.
I see. My father has another friend named Theo. Theo made all the plastic parts for Volkswagen, and Theo lives in Florida now. My father could probably put you in touch with him to ask about maybe using uh, plastic for automobiles because they're not going to have the condensation on the interior of the car. But when you get a new
Mm.
car, everything's wrapped in plastic. So that might be another option. But you bring up an interesting point that you need to be uh, looking at markets that don't have condensation, dry products. I could totally see, like especially in Beijing, there's lots of boutique products here. I could see your products being wrapped in this environmentally friendly plastic for Louis Vuitton, Benetton, Coach. Uh, they're not going to have any problem paying an extra 50 cents for a plastic bag. So I could see high-end boutiques wanting to have a piece of that. And oddly enough, I get so excited about the program, and we only have about 2 or 3 minutes left. I'd like to ask, is there anything that's keeping you up at night, some major issue that you would like some help with before we sign off in the next few minutes?
Right. Yeah, I think the biggest part, I think you hit it already, is protecting like our business, like creating a brand image for ourselves. Like there's not much we can do in protecting intellectual property, but like I think you're right in the sense that we have to use leverage the fact that we are high schoolers and we have the vision and passion to preserve the environment while we're selling the bags. So one thing we've come up with is actually like putting either like little sheets of paper or adding a little tag to our bags that kind of briefly tell them our mission and where they can find us. Um, but yeah, definitely, I think it's about like creating a brand image.
You could also try, so I love the fact that you're receptive to that. You could also go a step further. In Beijing, we use a program called WeChat, and they're very big on social media. There's also another program in Japan called TikTok, and they do 15-second videos. You could put little QR codes on your bags, and those QR codes could go to little 15-second videos that people could take a peek at. And it's amazing how concise you get in 15 seconds, but you can get a lot of information out in 15 seconds as well. You could be what we call KOL in Asia. It's key opinion leader. So you could be the key opinion leader in your generation on how to make this planet more sustainable through basically profitable businesses, which is what you're doing. So I think
Mhm.
making yourself into a media sensation by teaching people how you can also do something for yourself in very short, easy bites, I think would also promote your business. But yeah, I'd say a big media blitz and you'll be on your way.
Right. Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you so much for that.
Sure. So we're actually out of time. The show goes so fast because I get really excited about people's ideas. Michael, you have an amazing idea, and I really appreciate that people in your generation are thinking about the future because you are the future. And I think you're also a role model for people that you can do well, do good, and also make money at the same time. And I really commend you for being able to get all of those together.
Mm. Yeah, no, thank you so much for all your great suggestions and the opportunities you're presenting me.
Excellent. So, everyone in Beijing and Minnesota and the rest of the world, thank you for tuning in today. We will see you next time. And Michael, I'd like to have you on the show next year to see where you are in 12 months. Okay?
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.